Are we on now already?
We're on, yeah. We're on. Nana, thanks for being here. For anyone who's watching and not listening, you might notice that we're in a new space. We're in our new podcast studio. It's delayed us from having these chats a little bit, although we've had them in person, so we've done a pretty good job at
We
hanging
do a
out.
good job of talking.
We do a good job of talking. We'll be right back to the episode, but first I wanted to take a moment and say thank you for listening to the Breakfast with Nana podcast. Since I started this project, I've been overwhelmed by just how many people wish that they had something like this for their loved ones. Now I'm on a mission to help others preserve these legacies forever, and I need your help. If you can spare 60 seconds, I've put together a brief 5-question survey. Your responses will guide me in creating more tools so that anyone can preserve the legacies of their loved ones. Having the history, lessons, and wisdom of our loved ones passed down is truly priceless. So please click the link in the description and let's keep these memories alive, not just for ourselves and for our families, but for future generations to come. Thanks and enjoy the show. Well, just when I picked you up, you showed me an email from an old student of yours, and the message I thought was so touching. Are you comfortable sharing that on here? Or
Well, what would you like to know about it? This was a student of mine when I was teaching in high school. He was 17 years old when he came to this country and into my class. So I met both him and his sister, who is a couple of years younger than he.
And how many years ago was that?
Uh, all I know is that he was 17 and he is now a retired principal of a school in Brooklyn. So
from high school through retirement, you've managed to stay in touch.
yes.
And is that through email or through a Christmas
mostly
card?
through Christmas time. Yes, Christmas time. We always exchanged notes. Yes.
And what did you reply to that note, and how did that conversation develop in the case of this year?
Oh, now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he doesn't write anymore. He emails me. We started last year. Started last Christmas with the emailing, and he gave me some information of what he had been doing and the traveling that he had accomplished this year. And he also sent me a picture of his family, which included his mother, his sister, her husband, and his partner as well. So I saw this beautiful lady who was gorgeous when she was 15 years old and is still beautiful today. It was lovely to see that picture.
That's nice. And it sounds like he has a family now, and he even sent a photo of them. What did you reply with? Because I know you shared this podcast with him.
I did. This is the first time that I've ever indicated my age. So I decided, well, I don't know how much longer I will be here to receive his messages, but I felt I needed to say, that I'm still active, and I celebrated my 95th birthday, and that I had 10 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren, and how lucky I was. I have lots of blessings, and I felt I wanted to share that with him.
And did he take a listen to it? Did we hear back from him yet?
Yes, and yes. Oh, and I also told him that my grandson Dante has started a Breakfast with Nana podcast, and if he would like, he could find it. And when he must have looked at it, because he answered me to tell me that he really loved watching it, and how it brought back memories for him too of when he first entered my class at the age of 17.
Wow. That's really special. I mean, I'm so touched to hear that people have enjoyed these conversations. It's really a reality check in a way, because when we first started doing these, I thought to myself, okay, well, I know I'll enjoy these, and I know they're important to me because you're so important to me. And this is a project that we're doing together. But I never thought in a million years that other people who don't know you or don't know me would find some enjoyment or comfort or education in hearing your stories. So that has continued to be just awesome. That means the
Well,
world to
it,
me.
it started, as you know, it started just as a little project for me to be able to leave something back for my children so that she could see and they could see and hear me, right? Photographs are great, but it's nice to be able to. I wish I had something like this with my mother too. But so it started as a very simple experiment, and it seems to have grown.
We're building quite a library, that's for sure. I mean, in a way, with all the with the way that technology is evolving, I have no idea what future projects this library could sort of contribute to. But I have a hunch that it's going to be cool to have all of this preserved in one way or another. So I'm really grateful for that.
I'm so glad that we did that because I can't think of anything that I'd like better for my children to have is to be able to see and hear me because I would know how much I would have liked to have had that too for my mother. So I think everyone feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, and you also, you've heard from people who said, I wish that I had done that with my grandmother. I wish that I had done that with whoever, to have it as a little memory.
Without a doubt. And, I even think about for my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, if I'm lucky enough to meet them, they will be lucky enough to meet you in some sense. So really, this project just continues to extend through down our family lineage as far as the internet's around.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
take a lot of comfort in that, knowing that.
Well, thanks to you because you did it. You did it, Dante.
Well, thanks to you for being willing and open to be a part of this experiment, because that's really what it is and how it started, and it's still an experiment. So I appreciate your openness and willingness to take part in this, and it has truly enriched my life in the present, and I know that it will continue to as I get older and have these to look back on. Well, you look very, very festive. You've always done a great job of dressing the part, and it's December 18th. We're coming up on Christmas. You look wonderful, especially with your Christmas vest and earrings. And we've got a hosta behind you that you let me steal for this episode?
Poinsettias.
Poinsettia. That's right.
Yes. And by the way, December 18th was Grandpa's birthday. Not my father, Tom's father.
Wow.
So it was my
great-grandfather.
Right.
And what was
on your
his name?
father's side. Paul.
Was it Paul Thomas Borghese?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I never knew whether he had a middle name.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at that. I'm curious if there are any Christmas traditions that you remember from when you were little.
From when I was little, we always had a Christmas tree. And we always got it. We always went to get the Christmas tree a day or two before Christmas. We never had it up for a long time, but we also always kept it up until January 6th, which is Epiphany. Epiphany? Yes, I think so. Right.
And what's the significance of Epiphany?
That's when the wise men came to bring all the gifts to the baby Jesus.
Wow.
And my mother tells me that when she was a little girl, no one got presents on Christmas Day. All the presents were given on the 6th of January.
Interesting. Is that a Catholic tradition?
I don't know.
Or just a family tradition, maybe?
I think maybe it's a family tradition, or but it was because the wise men came with their gifts. Yes.
Yeah, I guess it actually kind of makes more sense when you say it that way, right? That's interesting. Any other traditions, like a meal that you would do?
Well, there are always special desserts, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. I can't right now. I should have gotten a heads up on this. I don't know what some of the desserts were, but
How
we
about at
always.
the restaurant? Like what would your father do anything special for the holidays at the restaurant?
I don't remember
Mm.
that. No,
Maybe the Feast of the Seven Fishes
because
or
you see,
something?
though, as I was growing older, my father was at a nightclub, worked in a nightclub. And so you didn't have, Christmas traditions. It was when I was really very, very young that he was in a restaurant. Well, I shouldn't say that because after the nightclub, he did go in. He did have restaurants and hotels as well,
Hmm.
to caterings and such.
Did you guys do like a Christmas Eve mass or a midnight mass?
On occasion, we would go
Mm-hmm.
to a midnight mass, but not often. And then as I grew older, and then when I married, Tom's family was very large, and they always gathered for all of the holidays, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and it was always a big dinner. And when I say big dinner, we were like 25 people
Wow.
eating at tables that were put together so that we were all at a table.
What's it like being an only child and having so for the holidays, I'm guessing it sounds like there was such a big tradition to get together on your husband's side where there was a much larger family. Did you
Yes.
join in for a lot of
Well,
that, or
yeah.
how do you figure that out?
Well, yes, I had an aunt and an uncle,
Mm-hmm.
and we would get together for dinners we were not alone.
Mm-hmm.
We always were with people, with aunts and uncles and cousins, but it's a small group, under 10.
Mm-hmm. So how do you, from a relationship standpoint, how do you navigate that? Do you switch off like every other, we'll do this Christmas with your side of the family, we'll do this side with mine, or how did that work?
Um, well, yeah, we did that initially, but it was really very hard after we married because it was not easy to do that. And then my father passed away, and my mother, was invited with Tom's family. So very often, even with my father and mother, uh, we were included with Tom's family so that it wasn't switching. It was always, we were all one group, including my family, which
Mm-hmm.
was very small.
That's nice.
Yes.
Did you enjoy that?
Oh,
Or
yes.
that's
I
nice.
liked that too. Yes. It was fine. Right. And, when you have a big group like that, everybody goes into one group or the other. Who starts after dinner playing cards, who does some socializing, and who does some playing games. And I mean, there was never a dull moment, but everybody was involved besides eating. Eating took a long time,
Oh
you know.
yeah. Who was making the meal for that
all
size
all all of
party?
the women, my mother-in-law and her sisters,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there were 5 women in the
Oh
family,
wow.
and we were all there with all their husbands and children, so yeah.
Did they cook anything specific that you remember?
My mother-in-law was a great cook. Everything she made was delicious. And I found that, and I cooked before I was married. I didn't, because I was an only child, and I would come home from school and my parents were working, and when I was old enough, I would be making the dinners. So I cooked, and my father was a great cook. My father was an excellent cook. And so I learned a lot from him. But when I married, I wanted to make things that my husband enjoyed because their cuisine was very different from ours. You'd be surprised. It was an Italian family, but the traditions were different. Even the culture was different because we came from different parts of Italy,
Mm-hmm.
one from the north, one from the south, and even the languages were different at that time too. So I learned to make a number of the dishes my mother-in-law would make because, of course, I wanted to please my husband and have things that he liked to eat. But there were some things that my father would make that I loved, and my husband wouldn't go near it.
Like
Wouldn't go
what?
near it. I loved it when he would make calf's brains.
Calves brains. Oh, we've
Calf's
talked about this
brains.
before. I gotta try calves brains. They're really getting a lot of airtime on this podcast. I think we might need to.
Well,
What did you say? Let sleeping dogs lie. That's what you said in regards to the calves brains. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try it on my own then. Are there any really stark differences between Sicilian culinary traditions versus Northern Italian?
very well, yes, there are big differences. Yes. But, you know, I loved everything.
Hmm.
I love food. What can I tell you?
So now, if you were you are a good cook, and you said your father was an excellent cook. How about your mother? Did she do a lot of cooking,
Well,
or?
yes, of course, she always cooked, but she cooked very staple things,
Hmm.
basic staple things.
Okay, so family full of cooks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for us to go to the Christmas Eve mass at the Episcopal Church this year because it's been so long since we've been there. We used to go every single Christmas Eve, and then I think we stopped. We took a pause during COVID, and then you were doing the church online, and it just sort of faded away. It's interesting how traditions, if you don't maintain them, they fade away kind of miraculously fast. And so,
Well, the service at the Episcopal Church, they have two services, and we went to the earlier one, which was, of course,
mhm.
filled with children, and a lot of the service was had to do with the children's participation in all of the activities, and it was just lovely. We loved it. And then so many traditions, where they put out the lights at a certain point, and we all lit the candles, and it's very lovely things to remember, and I always like to do that. And it's early enough, so in the Catholic Church, Christmas Eve Mass was at midnight,
Wow.
whereas now this service at the Episcopal Church was always at 4 or 4:30. Now
Mhm.
we're starting a 5 o'clock service. So, but it will be with all the children, and they will all participate.
I know. I think I may have aged out of being a child now, which is really too bad because it was so much fun being a child. And they give you the little dolls essentially that represent the characters
Oh
in the
yes,
story, and then
and
you go and bring them up one by one and sort of
yes,
fill the manger with animals too.
yes,
I really
yes,
enjoyed that so much, and Deborah always did such a great job of putting that together, and I have no doubt that that Peter, the new priest,
yes.
will
Well,
do a
we'll soon
phenomenal
find
job.
out.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm sure everybody will be excited to see you there, as they always are, and I'm so happy that you've had the chance to get back to going to church in person
Yes,
more regularly. I know that you
yeah.
were doing it on Zoom for a
Yes, I
while.
did it on Zoom every Sunday for several years.
Tell me how it feels to be back in person versus on Zoom.
Um, I love it. I love it. I love seeing the people, seeing all my friends, um, and I love the service itself. Yes,
Yeah, it's just different to be there in person, and plus it's so nice for everyone to see you there too. And I recognize that every time I walk in because I'm holding your arm and there's a line of people waiting to say hello to Gloria. So that's really nice.
yes,
And I'm
yes.
excited that we're going to get to do that together and hopefully keep that tradition
I hope
going.
so. Yes.
So, this is the first time in a while that we've done a podcast for numerous reasons. I was putting together this studio, and also in the last couple of weeks, you've been under the weather with a sickness or a virus that really
Yes,
has taken a long time. And I know you're still not back to 100%. So
I
I really
know.
appreciate you again taking the time to come out to come here. Tell me a little bit about what it's like to be sick at
Uh,
95 years old.
uh, It's never good to be sick at any time, let me tell you. Um, but as long as you feel, well, it's not going to kill you. It's not, hopefully, it's not going to kill you. So you just kind of grin and bear it. But it's wonderful to have television, I'll tell you that. Since I live alone, but I'm so fortunate that I have family so close by, such as you and your dad and your brothers, and everyone is right available if I should need any help. But look, you do the best you can, and at the same time, when you're sick and you're not feeling that great, but you know you're not going to die, you really have a chance to look at what your life has been and look at all the wonderful things that I have in my life for which I am so grateful. I thank God every night when I go to bed for the wonderful life that He has given me.
I know that all the time at 95, nobody's body's perfect, and a lot, you can't move the way that you once moved, and things take longer than they do. Do you feel like when you were sick and there was even more things that you couldn't do, you gained a deeper appreciation for those things that aren't as easy as they were when you were my age, but you still get to do, even the smallest things?
I'll tell you, I appreciate my house so much more when I'm not feeling too well. When I'm feeling fine, I go through my daily activity. I go out, I do whatever. I don't think about it. But when I'm stuck in the house, and here I am, and I'm so lucky to be in a house that's so comfortable. I'll put it that way, and that's thanks to your dad, who built it.
What was that like? I mean, did he just build that house the way that he thought that you would like it, or were you really involved in that process? Tell me about how that came
Well,
together.
he didn't. He was only 8 years old when we built that house, so he didn't have a
The
say
original
in it then,
house.
the original house.
Sure.
But he's made so many improvements on it that have been so wonderful, and that's really what I appreciate the most. Yes.
Well, I love being in there, and we know that it serves as a pretty good podcast studio from the from the first 6 episodes
Yes,
or so.
yes, this is our first one in your studio. So
Yeah.
congratulations,
Dad also
Dante.
helped a lot on this. I owe him a thank you. Yeah, he let me, paint and tear stuff up, so I really appreciate that. But going back to being sick for a second, what were some of the things that got you through this sickness, even just emotionally? Because did you have a lot of phone calls? What were the
Well,
things
yes,
that kept you going?
I mentioned the television as entertainment, but thank God that the phone, my phone is my contact to the outside world. And it was just so nice to be able to talk to people and to have my friends call me. And there were times when I felt better and I went out, even though I wasn't feeling my best. This virus was that kind of a virus. It just pulled you down, but it didn't cripple you, you know? So that I've still had contact with the outside world.
You're expecting your fourth great
Oh,
grandchild
yes, I
in a
can't
couple
wait for
weeks.
that.
Have you been in touch?
Well, I understand, she's doing well. I speak to her mother, my daughter, Joan, every day, and Catherine's doing well. And we have just 2 or 3 more weeks maybe to go. So far, she's doing well, so we've got our fingers crossed.
That's awesome. You must be really excited. I'm really excited. Yeah, it was so great to see them, and it's been so cool to watch Eloise grow up from
Yes,
0 months to what, almost 18 months now,
yes,
and she's running around, and it's been so cool to see that.
yeah,
I'm excited to meet this new child
yeah,
and see how they interact as siblings. have 3 siblings, and I can tell you a lot of good and bad about the way we interacted when we were younger. And so it'll be really cool to watch that dynamic as it
Well,
happens.
Catherine and Michael had arranged to contact family members every day through showing a picture of Eloise. So I've been seeing Eloise every day since she was born. So I could see, how she's grown, how she responds. It's been wonderful.
Oh, that's so great. Well, we are so blessed. We have so much to look forward to, whether it's the holidays, seeing each other, and even welcoming new life into this world. So I'm really excited, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. This was so fun to get back in and do another episode with you and catch up, and I'm looking forward to doing more in this space. So
Yeah. Well, let's just be happy that we have such a wonderful holiday coming up. I love Christmas. I love everything about it that has to do with the birth of Jesus and with our families being together. That's the most important thing.
cheers to that. Well, I love you very much, and I'm so excited to do this again. Thanks, Nana.
Oh, always my pleasure, and thank you, Dante. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.